Hello everyone, welcome to this week's This Girl Can Wants to Know. Today I'll be asking, can burpees help charities? Lots of us get into fitness for a variety of reasons. To compete, to become physically healthy and strong, to make friends, or even to grow your body confidence. But many of us use our exercise to improve our mental health. That's why today I'm talking to Alex. She's taken on an endurance task to support the charity Mind. Let's jump straight in.
Hi Alex, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, I'm good, thank you very much. So would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name's Alex. I'm 5'4" for anyone that really cares. I have just turned 30 and I have been doing a 30-day burpee challenge.
Fabulous. So if it's not a silly question, what is a burpee?
Not a silly question at all. There are some people that have never heard of burpees, have no idea what they are. And honestly, before joining CrossFit, pretty much the same. I guess the short answer is you lay face down on the floor, you stand back up, you jump and clap. Sounds really simple when you put it like that. Yeah. The long answer, I guess, would be from standing. You put your hands on the floor in front of you, your legs slightly bent. You then shoot your feet out to a long arm plank position. From there, you lower yourself down to the floor, almost like in a press up sort of way. You then come back up. You shoot your feet back in, like underneath yourself. You stand up, jump, and clap.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
So you don't count the burpee until you've done the clap. You have to.
Pretty much, yeah. It's got to be with a clap. It doesn't count unless you.
Sure.
Like a little celebration. You're done. Yes.
You said you're doing it for 30 days. How many are you doing a day, and how many do you want to do for the whole 30 days?
So the challenge is 100 burpees a day for 30 days. And that exactly was my reaction when when that was mentioned. I was like, there's no way I'll be able to do that. There's no way I can do 100 burpees, let alone 100 burpees for 30 days.
I can't even do 5 burpees, so you are truly inspirational to me. And you're using your burpees to raise money for Mind. What kind of gave you the idea to do that? Was it an existing challenge or?
So I'm not sure if it was a existing challenge before we started doing it, but the reason it came about is the CrossFit group that I'm a part of kind of pitched it as an idea, knowing that we were going into the secondary sort of lockdown, just as a way of helping keep everyone active while also sort of donating to a charity that is sort of close to all of our hearts, because we know that sort of physical fitness and mental health sort of kind of go together, and we know that especially with all of the lockdowns, that charities such as Mind are sort of really struggling for the support that they need.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. Thank you.
Oh.
And so we've already touched on it. You're doing the whole challenge is 30 days. Mm-hmm. So when did you start? How many days have you done now?
So started on the 4th, so the day before the lockdown came into effect. So today is day 28.
So you're very near. We've got you at a good time. You're so
nearly done. Nearly in sight.
using like a day, like I just got to get to day 10, I've just got to get to day 20.
So I mean, when you think about the whole thing being 3,000 burpees, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yes,
So when you break it down to, you've just got to do 100 a day, okay, that's still a lot. But if you can do, I don't know, a 5 while you're making a cup of tea, or a 10 while you're watching the adverts on TV, you know, it soon adds up, and before you know it, you're done for the day.
That's what I was going to ask you next. So you're not doing 100 not press ups, if only 100 burpees in all in one go. You're kind of spreading it over the day.
Depends on the day.
Okay.
There are some days where I'll be able to have, like, I have the energy and stuff to be able to do them all in one go, and there's other days where I know I've got quite a lot on, or I'm just feeling a little bit drained, or like maybe even just a little bit sore from the previous day's workout.
Previous day's 100 burpees,
yeah. And then, because you don't necessarily have to do them all in one go, you can break them up, and I tend to find just doing them in sets of 10, it still gets the heart rate up, and I'm still sat there like panting at the end of it. But I know that I only have to do 10 of those, and that kind of really helps me try and churn through them a little bit more. So that's quite nice.
So you kind of strolling around Instagram or Facebook or any of those things, you see quite a few of these sort of fitness challenges. So do you think, but first off, do you think that fitness challenges encourage people to donate? And if so, do you have any guesses as to why that is?
I think it does. I think anything that generally involves physical activity or a potentially embarrassing situation tends to get people to donate, because they know that the person that's doing the challenge has put themselves out of their own comfort zone. It's not something that you would do on a regular basis. It's not, I don't know, 10 times walking up and down the stairs. Potentially is something that is a challenge, and normal people completely understand that, and I think that's what sort of drives people to donate more in that sort of situation.
I think that's very true. So we've already mentioned that, like, mental health and physical health they're really closely entwined. I hope it's not too personal a question, but has this been a mental challenge as well as a physical one?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So even just starting, knowing that we were going back into another lockdown as a nation, knowing that it was just going to be essentially my own voice in my head to be able to sort of get up and get it done for the day. It's really quite daunting, actually, and it was because of the wonderful sort of community with the CrossFit group that I'm a part of. Seeing everyone, it sounds really, really odd, but everyone just really dripping with sweat and completely, out of it after doing their workouts. And, it doesn't matter if it took you 6 minutes or 60 minutes, and like everyone was celebrating the fact that you've managed to do it. So that was a wonderful sort of driving factor, especially in the early days, because you haven't really quite gotten into it yet. You can kind of try and fob it off a little bit without
I didn't do the clap, it still counts. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for being so candid. There is something
No, it was really, really easy. Like,
there's something very, very unifying about seeing everyone else sweating and out of breath. Like,
yes. Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
So we've already spoken a little bit about motivation and that dauntingness of it. So how do you stay motivated, or if you get discouraged and you don't feel motivated, how do you push through? What are your techniques?
Usually I kind of just give myself a mental sort of dressing down. Like, if you don't do it, you're gonna feel worse. So even though you might not like doing it, like, do one, and there you go, you've already started. It's that sort of a journey over 1,000 miles starts with a single step. It's just do that little bit, or do as much as you feel like you can, and it's just that little starting point for it. I definitely found that having that support, not only from sort of my housemate and the rest of the group, seeing that they've managed to do their challenges and stuff throughout the day, knowing that essentially I have a responsibility to anyone that has already donated, or to the charity itself, to be able to get it done. It was that sort of accountability to make sure it was done. And there was actually a point where I was actually feeling quite low for a couple of days, and I didn't actually manage to get them done. And then they really quickly add up. So at one point I had, I think, 2 or 3 days worth of burpees sort of hanging over my head.
Yeah.
And it was just that sort of, it was that build in the back of your head saying, if you don't start chipping away at it now, it's just gonna sort of get away from me. And I could hear my housemate in the other room sort of working through his, and it was a case of just sort of wandered into the room and broke it down into just really simple steps. Laid down on the floor, got back up, jump, clap. There you go. There's one. Do another one, and then you just kind of slowly work your way through.
Chipping away at it. I think that's such a good attitude. And the word that has come up. So when I said that I was going to interview you, and I chatted to people about sort of the cause and about the challenge itself, and the word that most came up was discipline. Like, I wish I had the discipline to do that, the sort of day after day, just chipping away at it, just getting on with it. So I think that is very cool.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. What is that question? Right. The next question, were you into fitness before you accepted this challenge? Like, what is your fitness story?
Yes, but with like a little asterisk, I guess. In a way, I've always been into fitness. I've just never had the motivation to be able to stick to practically any.
Can't relate to that at all.
It was always sort of one of those things where I did it because I felt like I had to, rather than enjoying the activity that I was doing. which is the refreshing thing about the again the CrossFit sort of group that I'm a part of, because it's entirely different from walking into like a gym or something like that, where you feel like people are watching and judging you. So if you walk into the room and everyone's actually just genuinely happy to see you, see that you've actually turned up for the day, and once you're working out, no one's paying attention to you. You can kind of just focus on your own stuff, and any small improvement is celebrated. If it's the first time that you've managed to do a full push-up, well done, you're getting a round of applause. Everyone's going to be cheering for you. If you're the last person to finish the time challenge or the lap around the block, you're the person getting the most cheers as you come through that finish line. It's not just a case of, oh, I finished first, I no longer care. It's, I finished first, you can do it, everyone do it. And before sort of joining the CrossFit group, it was very much, I feel like I'm going to go for a run, and now I've sat down and I'm good.
Got on the leggings, I was ready to go, but I realised that it was comfy on the sofa.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Maybe I should try CrossFit. Because it sounds like a much nicer environment than, as you said, walking into the gym and then not knowing whether people are looking at you because you've been on the weight machine too long. Or
Yeah.
It's nice to have a community, and it sounds like CrossFit is one.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not just restricted to CrossFit. Obviously, it's just my experience of it. But even if it's a case of finding a particular group or like a partner that can essentially hold you accountable for it. So if you don't particularly feel like going that day, you know that you kind of have to because the other person is going to be going and they're counting on you to be there.
Yeah.
Some of the really sort of tough days, especially coming into winter when it's dark and miserable outside and you really don't want to leave your bed because you're all kind of nicely curled up, knowing that there's going to be someone there waiting for you to turn up so you can do the workout together, is a big factor. So even if it's just finding someone to be able to do that with.
So this is more about the physical aspect of the challenge. So when I heard 100 a day, that in itself to me was like, that is a massive endurance challenge, and you're doing it for 30 days. Like, how do you prepare for it? And do you feel different now than you did at the beginning? Like, do you feel stronger? Do you feel sore, achy joints? Like, what's your experience been physically?
I think part of the challenge is that I guess you can't really prepare for it. That's kind of part of the point. Ideally, yes, you want to be able to probably manage a burpee beforehand, but you can always break it down and scale it for your capability. So even if it's a case of doing a couple of sort of kneeling push-ups and then a couple of sort of squat jumps afterwards, completely separate. If it's the in-between motion that's hurting, then great, break it down for whatever your capability is. For me, the reason why I actually decided to take up the challenge is the first day that it was set, and I was very much in the mindset of I'll never be able to do that. I don't have the discipline for it. I don't have the physical strength for it. I don't really have the mental strength to be able to sort of get myself through it either. But in that last workout, as a group in CrossFit before the lockdown came into place, during that workout we managed to do, I think it was 101 burpees.
Wow.
And it wasn't just all in one hit, it was do burpees, do something else, do another thing.
And then you've ended up with 100 before you've even noticed.
Exactly. Yeah. And by the end of the workout, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this then. And then from there, it was a case of tried and very badly failed to do 100 in one go the next morning. Very much regretted that. Very sore. Especially the first few days, my shoulders were on fire, my chest, my pecs absolutely ached, and then you kind of get into the rhythm of it. So even if you are feeling achy, again, you can adapt it to however it feels comfortable for yourself. You can even just break it down into do one, wait 5 minutes, do another one, wait 5 minutes. I mean, it'll take you some time, but you'll get it done, and that's the whole sort of point for it. The way that I feel now, even after having done a day of work, come home, do my 100 burpees, and then sort of prep for this call in a very rushed sort of way. As I sit here now, I feel fine. I can feel my muscles aching, definitely. Like I can tell that I've done something today, but it's not. I'm not sort of dying on my feet, as it were, which is a much nicer feeling.
I think it is really interesting and encouraging that at the start of this process, as you said, you didn't feel that you had the strength or the discipline, and here you are 28 days, 29 days later, whichever it is, you're so close to the end, and you've done it, even if it meant that you had to do a backlog and chip through an extra 200. Like, you've done it, and you've pushed yourself through that, even with support. That says a lot about both how strong you actually are and about where people can begin on this sort of challenge. Like, you don't necessarily have to be signing up for Ninja Warrior or anything to be able to try and achieve something like this. So that's very, very cool. Do you have any advice for a young person who wants to fundraise at doing something like this?
I would probably say, obviously, make it a challenge, but make it something that you can achieve. So make it difficult but achievable. Don't say that, oh, you're gonna run 100 miles every single day, because that's probably a little bit much.
Yeah, we're gonna run out of time to do homework, definitely.
Yes. Yeah. So no matter what it is, you can always scale it for yourself. So if it's a case of just doing 100 push-ups a day, that's still a lot. And if you say to someone, I'm going to do 100 push-ups a day, it's effectively the same reaction as, I wish I had the discipline to be able to do that. But again, you can break it down into smaller, manageable chunks. So that would probably be my first bit of advice, is challenging but achievable. The second part, I would probably say, is, as much as you may dislike it, especially after a hard workout, social media is definitely your friend in that regard. people have a very weird tendency, especially myself, to enjoy seeing that someone else has suffered for the challenge. Like, you haven't just kind of breezed through it and you're perfectly pristine and ready to hit a night out on the town sort of thing. They want to see you struggle to be able to hit it. And that sort of process. So being able to update everyone sort of fairly regularly. It doesn't have to be every day, but just keeping them updated on your progress and how you're going.
Again, it's that thing of like, if someone's already donated, you're living up to a promise, and if someone hasn't donated yet, you're kind of, I don't know, doing a pre-sale of what's to come.
Yeah, you're kind of trying to then encourage them to say, look, I'm really suffering and struggling here. You know you want to donate because it is definitely a worthy cause. I'm sweating for it, so you know it's worthy. That sort of thing.
My only other question about the sort of like fundraising aspect of it is how did you find using a platform for fundraising? Like, how did you collect money? What sort of websites or whatever did you use?
So I know there's quite a few platforms out there. Probably the best one is Just Giving, because it is predominantly around charities. You can set up your own page, you can set up a team as well, so members can have their own individual pages but still be part of a team, so you can have a goal sort of collectively as well, and you can then see how everyone else is doing in the sort of progress as well. So Just Giving, I believe it's .com, is probably sort of the go-to one for the fundraising sort of website that we use. For myself, I found that sort of sharing through my social medias, so my Facebook page and stuff like that, that I use most often, was quite effective. Just because it obviously gets it out there to the people that I see and talk to most often.
So I didn't write it down on the question list, but so for part of DOB, we have to do volunteering, and one of the options for volunteering is fundraising. So picking a charity and doing something to fundraise for it. Do you think it is worthwhile for someone to set up their own challenge, or do you think picking a challenge from someone like Mind, or I know Macmillan has a lot of sort of running challenges and stuff like that, do you think that that's kind of the best way to kind of put your physical effort into the right place, or do you think maybe coming up with their own one it's just a curiosity more than I'm not asking for a proper response. It's whatever kind of just springs to mind with the question, I guess.
Obviously the pre-made challenges are a great place to start, but if you find that either the charity that you want to help doesn't have one, or if they do have one, it's not something that you think you can manage, or something along that lines, by all means start your own challenge. At the end of the day, it's personal to yourself. The charity that you choose is personal to yourself. Being invested in the challenge is one of the reasons that you're going to be able to complete it, is because you know that you're doing it for a reason. You're not necessarily just doing it because there was a post. It's something that you can believe in, and that will help and encourage you along the way. And who knows, you might even start your own sort of, is it the ice bucket challenge that went round a few years ago?
Yeah.
You might start a whole new trend of challenges and
introduce
fitness
people
goals.
to something, to a cause they'd never heard of before.
Yes, exactly.
I personally am a massive fan of Mind. I've gone through my own mental health crises, and I know a lot of young people that we work with also have gone through that. So I will be sharing all of their details below this video on Instagram and on our YouTube page. But what was your reason for joining in led more by the community of your CrossFit team, or was it a personal hope for yourself to make a difference for Mind? Or was it a bit of both?
Ooh, good question. It was a bit of both. I find myself have gone through a fair few mental health crises. I still struggle with my mental health on a day-to-day basis.
Currently wearing a hot water bottle. That's how I manage my anxiety. I try to be open about it on here. Obviously, I don't want to push my guests too far, but I think it is worth talking about the effect of exercise on mental health and the, I suppose, the hope that something like pushing through to raise money for something to give you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely. So, I mean, because it was for a mental health charity, it was just that extra sort of driving factor to be able to sort of join in, and then sort of knowing that I'd already completed sort of day one without really thinking about it.
Yeah.
That was definitely sort of the secondary driving factor. But I mean, as you've said, Mind is an absolutely fantastic sort of health charity, mental health charity, and I know, especially at the moment, again because of the sort of lockdowns and the wonderful year that 2020.
Yeah, so we're nearly
nearly at the end. Yeah. They are definitely struggling, and not only in the case of funds, but obviously because there's so many more people currently reaching out, because this year has just been a struggle for everyone, and having them there to be able to sort of lean on, to be able to talk to help you out in any way that they can is really important. And I would absolutely hate if they suddenly disappeared. Yeah, and if there was something that I could have done about that, then I would also be slightly annoyed at myself, if that makes any sort of sense.
I think that is very admirable. And yes, Mind is amazing. So they provide resources, they have people that can reach out and support you, they have a phone line, there's so much stuff. And one of the things they encourage is physical exercise, funnily enough. Because who knew? So lifestyle has a lot of impact on your mental health, and I think one of the biggest things about this year is we've not been able to have healthy lifestyles.
Yeah,
we've been restricted in that. So, because if your daily exercise was walking to work and then suddenly you're not allowed to do that, then convincing yourself that you want to run up and down the stairs it can be a challenge.
Yes.
Where can our lovely audience donate to your cause?
So if you actually go on to justgiving.com, and in the little search bar at the top, type in United We Stand Burpees for Mind. Our wonderful CrossFit team should be at the top of the list there. You can see all of our lovely members that have signed up and the people that are donating. You can just either share to the group, or if you have a particular member that you want to donate to, and you can do that as well.
That's fabulous, thank you. And then I guess one last question, which again I didn't put on the sheet. Glad, Bryony. Is our audience is predominantly, so this is a This Girl Can interview, so we're predominantly looking to talk to young women who maybe have never got into exercise or don't feel confident to exercise. Or is there anything either that you've learned from this experience or that you've learned from your fitness in general that you'd like to tell those young women who haven't got into exercise?
One step at a time. You don't have to be able to, I don't know, you don't have to be able to run a mile on your first outing. You don't have to be able to lift 100 kilograms on your first day. You just have to turn up. You just, that's the first sort of step. It's being able to go, and if that is a little bit daunting for you, take a friend. Let's do it in pairs. Do it as a I think I referred to it the other day as a Chuckle Brothers sort of thing. So I do one, you do one, I do one, you do one, and again it's that accountability, and that's having each other's backs in it. Know that you're not alone in your journey, and you never will be. And if you reach or ask or need help, it is definitely out there. And you definitely have this. You've got this. You're gonna smash it. You know it.
Thank you so much. I'm definitely closing the video with that quote. That was beautiful. Is there anything else that you think I should have asked, or that you just pops into your head?
I mean, nothing that I can think of straight away. I guess for people struggling to feel like they're doing anything for a sort of challenge, or just feeling like they're not doing enough physically, even if it is just walking around the block, it small steps, and you'll be able to hit your goals within sort of no time at all.
Yeah. Fabulous. Well, as I said, and I will keep saying, thank you so much. You have been a brilliant guest. I guess all that's left is to say goodbye to the audience. So, bye. Pressing the wrong buttons. Boop, boop, boop.
Wasn't she amazing? So inspiring. If you'd like to set up a charity challenge, please let us know. It would be amazing to hear about, and we might even be able to offer you some support. If you have a sport that you'd like me to find out about, put it in the comments below and I'll try and find someone to interview. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a lovely evening.